Why you tripping, flipping out like I'm a chauvinist pig, hoping that this could turn to what was never meant to be? I've been honest from the jump, you were chasing misery, living a lie. Should've picked a different guy. Heart emojis turned to tears in a blink of an eye. Said it was cool, we only in it for the fun of it. Rough sex, cuddling, nothing in public. Must have been extra rounds, make you wanna settle down. Used to bounce when we were done, now you wanna stick around. I get it, the dudes you used to don't move the way the malls do. Now you're stressing me, begging for me to call you. No, baby, I ain't gonna be able to do it. If I knew you catch feelings, I'd have never pursued it. But you let the pipe game put you under influence, and you lost the real one, baby girl, you blew it.
You might be with. It ain't a queen and queens that I ain't hit. Get played like Jacquees, so other mate don't trip. You don't do gymnastics, so please don't flip. Relationships are overrated, titles make them complicated. So I refuse to be obligated. I can't we relate if I'm not dedicated. Fatal attractions will only leave you devastated. That's why I hesitated, cause I knew these back shots of how your feelings elevated. Now you all in love and you hella hate it. Vibes became jaded, reason I skated, cause I'm not in the X games. Can't play checkers with a chess game. Chip off the old block if you knew my pops. Then it's no.
Let me share this screen so my black ass can be seen too.
I can see you. You're beautiful. I got you, man.
Thank you, man. You know what? F it. I'll go back and fix it if I have to, because I don't want to waste any more of your time, brother. I really appreciate you doing this for me. It's a blessing from God. I really do mean that.
It's my pleasure, sir. My pleasure, man.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for coming to my show. And the beauty and the eye of the beholder. My guest is going to be the creator and proprietor of Shadowrabbit _Clay_Guy. I met this young talented artist, and believe me when I say talented and an artist, he is talented beyond belief. Ladies and gentlemen, I met him at my first ever Terracon or Terrificon. I'm going to butcher the name, but whatever, it's my show. I enjoy it. Have fun. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you this young man is creative, at Terrificon or Terracon, it's kind of like cosplay, dress up, Halloween type comic book convention. Well, this young gentleman, again, Mr. Shadowrabbit _Clay_Guy, was making these creative sculptures from anything your imagination can create for you, whether it's a dragon, Dragon Ball Z, The Undertaker, Wolverine, X-Men, anything you could think of, this man is talented to do so. And I'm glad to have you on my show again, Mr. Shadowrabbit _Clay_Guy. I know you have a first name, but I don't want to butcher that. So
no, that's fine, man. Shadow Rabbit's good. My first name is Louis,
okay.
but you know, what's in a name? Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. I mean, Terrificon at Mohegan Sun.
Yes,
That
sir.
was a blast, and that was a last minute decision. I've really been out of doing the cons the last couple of years with everything, but I had a wonderful time there, man. I really met a lot of good people, and you know, it was a great opportunity for me to get myself back out there a little bit. So, pleasure, man.
Well, thank you for being on my show, Mr. Lewis. I have a couple of questions for you. I won't take up too much of your time. Again, I'm excited to have you on
No,
my
my
show.
pleasure, man. Please.
So the first question I have for you is, what led you to create masterpieces that you have created?
And I just, you know, I grew up loving, you know, comic books and superheroes and,
Ooh,
you know, all kinds of stuff like this.
beautiful, beautiful.
And, you know, I mean, I was lucky enough that my parents, you know, bought me a little piece of clay, you know, from the corner store, and said, well, if you like these toys, you know, figure out how to make them yourself.
Very nice.
And I
I like
did,
that.
you know. I mean, that was my. We didn't have fidget spinners and video games and stuff. We have Play-Doh and clay, and I started making characters I like, making my own things. You know, warriors, monsters, dragons,
Okay, okay, very
and yeah, I just realized. I started to realize the smaller I made them, the more of them I could make and have, and so that's kind of where it started. And honestly, it's kind of where it still is.
I like that. I like to hear that. Let me ask you another question. How much time do you set aside to create? I know a lot of people have busy lives and, whether they have children or school or work, how much time do you set aside to create the masterpieces, to brainstorm, to uh actually, yeah, brainstorm.
Um, I mean, honestly, this is my, this is my piece. It's cathartic for me to sculpt. So when I do have time to do it, I just kind of zone out and make whatever comes, comes from the clay.
Okay.
Unless, of course, it's a commission,
Right.
then I
Right.
have to, then I have to plan it out because I do have quite a bit of normal day responsibilities and all
Okay.
through the night. So
True. Okay. Okay.
yeah, I have to, I mean, I'm blessed with a family, and I have to take uh, the free time I have, very seriously, and
Okay.
because it's limited. But I work quick and passionately. So after I get everyone in bed, do all of my chores, then I get to my work.
That's right. Well, that kind of follows into my next question. How do you deal with setbacks? Do you let the obstacles hinder your progress at all, or how do you push on, or how do you push through it when you do have obstacles, uh, wherever they may come from?
Sure, I mean that's life, it's
Very true.
one step after the next, but you gotta stay strong, you stay tough, you keep walking. I mean,
That's right.
um, obstacles may come, but hopefully there are lessons in them.
Amen. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I like that. I like that. Um,
And again, this is my happy place, making cool things, meeting like-minded people, getting
yeah,
to express you know, the nerdy stuff that maybe when we were kids we couldn't like publicly. I mean,
you. You're
make
right.
make your own monsters, make your own heroes, and people seem to dig it, and that means the world to me. So
I mean, and that goes on to my other question, because me and you, like you said, like-minded people, like-minded people. Um, let's see. Let me ask you that one. And I don't think you feel burnt out because you said it is your happy place. Um,
sure, sure.
my happy place is also been lately because of COVID and a lot of things happen. Like you said, a lot of obstacles happen in life and whatnot. My happy place has been stop animation
Oh,
with
that's wonderful,
action figures. And
wonderful.
my next question is going to be, have you thought about making like a little miniature stop animation movie with your creations? Because I know
I would.
when I first met you, you did have some play figurines that did have articulation and movement, like the Super Mario's.
Oh yeah, well that one was completely wax. That wasn't even anything that moved. So these ones here are firmer, so they're if I was to articulate them, I'd have to build a skeleton. But I would love to do that. I just don't have the free time to do it. I would
Almost
love
telling them it's
I
definitely
would
time.
love to make them for other people who might be interested, though.
I hear you. I like that. Like I said, I like meeting same-minded people. Um, Speaking of your materials for your clay, what materials do you use? I know you talked about when I first met you, you talked about resin and you talk about clay. What type of clay and resin do you use? Is it the stuff you buy at Michael's? Do you have to put it in the oven? What is your when you nuts and
So,
bolt process?
so it really depends on what the piece calls for. I work with different. I like working with my hands and
Okay.
making things. So sometimes you get different abilities out of different materials. So I use just over the counter non drying clay. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. To
Okay.
just make my little things out of, which you saw me doing.
Yes,
I
sir. Yes.
also mix my own waxes, which work similarly. And
Okay.
then for bigger stuff, you know, uh, for larger sculptures like these,
Pinky in the brain.
yeah,
Wow. That's serious. That's serious. That's serious.
yeah. So
Ladies
stuff
and
like
gentlemen, you are
that.
seeing some serious art.
This one is out of polymer clay, Super Sculpey,
Okay.
and this one is out of epoxy resin sculpt.
Flavor Flav. Wow.
So you gotta know what time it is.
That's right.
Yeah, time to take over the world.
So let me guess, you a 90s baby?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Wow, my man.
So
Wow.
yeah, man.
That,
So the different, you can get different details
okay. Okay.
with the different clays, but really you can buy expensive stuff, but the cheap stuff works fine too.
See, that's what I like
Um,
to hear because, like I said, when I'm doing stop animation, I'm new to this.
sure,
So, with God's blessing and everything, He put me in the right position to use my creativity and meet like-minded people like yourselves, and just to experience life because it's. I don't want to take away from you. This interview is about you. I can go on about the blessing, so I'm gonna stop. But being new to this art scene has been wondrous. You
yeah,
know, like you said, it's awesome. It's what you call it, your happy place. It's definitely a happy place, and I wish people understood that. Whether the materials are cheap or not, it's how you use them.
sure. I mean, I've got friends who work with less expensive stuff than mine. One of my friends works with paper mache, like I mean wrapping paper and glue.
Yeah, yeah.
You can check him out, Rally B Art.
Okay, okay.
Um, and I've got friends who do the 3D printing stuff. They don't need my shout out for them. They got no, I'm just kidding. But this stuff's really cool too. That there's fantastic. That it's just fun whatever you're doing. I mean, there's other guys who do polymer clay that I've been meeting.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's great. There's so much you can express now, and so much access to so much technique and information and materials that it's really a wonderful time to be. I guess a couple years ago would have been better, but it's still all right.
That's right. That's right. It's good to be a kid again.
Exactly, man. I mean,
Yeah, I like
kid
that.
at
I
heart.
wanted to ask you, you talked about all the shout outs to your friends and those who work with different materials. I want to ask you my last question would be, other than the support from the creator himself above, like I said, all blessings from God and all faith comes from there. What other other than the friends that you have, what other support do you have? You know, a lot of
I
people don't
mean,
have support.
sure.
You seem to have a big community. I just wanted, I don't care who you give a shout out to, who
I,
supports you,
I mean, my family is always been there, for better or worse
Amen. Amen. Right.
to help me out. I mean, I've luckily had a couple good friends over the years who've had my back when it needed to be had. Um,
That's what's up.
I mean, just meeting people. The art community, the comic community has been so huge for me because
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I was not, I was working, my day jobs, and
Yeah.
it was, but I did what I had to do.
Yeah, you gotta do.
I
Yeah.
wanted to have a family. That's what you
That's
got
right.
to do.
That's right.
But I was lucky enough to meet someone who saw me making little Batman at my cubicle and said, you should really meet this guy. He runs a local show.
Okay.
So I went and I met him. I sent him some pictures of what I do, and he goes, "I'll give you a table." And yeah, that was
Nice.
that was years ago now. And yeah, I went to the first one. I had so much fun. Met so many good people. I had people appreciating my work like never before, and yeah, I never looked back.
Yeah. How long have you been in the game of creating figurines?
That was well, I mean, I've been making them my whole life, but I've been in the
Yeah.
Comic Con game. I guess that was 2016 or 17
Okay, okay, okay.
was when I did my first show.
So how long were you doing them all your life? Like what age?
Oh, I
12,
mean, as
13?
long as I can remember. No, I mean, like making playing little Play-Doh and clay. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Okay,
I
okay.
can't remember not having it. 3, 4 years old, probably.
So
You
you were
know,
never that kid that ate the Play-Doh.
I mean, a little of this, little of that. You got to test your merchandise.
I hear you.
But I
But
don't recommend it anymore.
no, no, no.
I put a little disclaimer like they look pretty. Don't eat them.
That's right. That's right. Let me ask you about do you have to ever bake your figures or do you just let them air dry?
There's depends on the material.
Material.
I
Okay.
do use some. I've moved away from the oven baking ones for the most part,
Okay.
just because over time I was a little. They do have some. I mean, over like 10 years, you can start getting some cracks on them maybe. So
Right.
I kind
Right.
of moved away from that. Unless you buy the more expensive material, which I didn't know 10 years ago. But yeah. So, but luckily I haven't had any problems. But just I get very very protective of stuff I made.
Of course.
It's got my name on it. It's got my fingerprints on it.
Right. That's your reputation.
Yeah, I put my soul into it, so I'm not looking to make anything that's going to fall apart.
Oh,
so
man.
so that's why I use a lot of the epoxy resin now.
I was just
Like
about to
it's like
ask you that. Okay.
yeah, it's like a plumber's putty basically, but you can color it. I don't paint anything. Everything is the color of the material.
Okay. Okay.
So
So like the Flavor
whatever I'm
Flav, you
making.
picked all that out.
Yeah, so it's all inlaid in the color. So you can mix the colors you'd like with this particular material. It's a AVES epoxy sculpt is the main one I use.
Okay. Okay.
And there's other ones that I use intermittently, but that's the main one.
Use a lot of that same material in stop animation
Yeah, yeah.
buildings. Like some of them use cardboard to build the building frame,
Oh
but
yeah.
then they use the epoxy to build. If you don't already have the builder straw material, they use that epoxy to build the piping.
Sure,
So
sure. There's I'm terrible with names, so I'm
that's
spacing on a
okay.
couple of guys I know, but
That's okay.
there's a comic Dweors that the guy who runs it is incredible, and he makes like all these gigantic displays for companies really, and he gets a chance to make his own things too, and they're just marvelous. Cutting them out of styrofoam and spray painting them, and like by the end it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's a masterpiece.
Now, you do anything for Halloween or no?
Oh, for Halloween I got my babies, so I'll be
Okay.
we'll see what they want to do. I've heard Pokemon or Star Wars been thrown around, so
All right. Well,
can't complain with either of those.
no, you can't. No, you can't. Well, sir, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I appreciate you doing my interview and my show. It's
Pleasure.
been a pleasure meeting you, and it was a pleasure meeting you then. And I'm glad to call you a friend. And believe me when I tell you, I will be asking you later off air what your commission rates are because I'm looking to add something, a piece of mind. I'll figure it out later, but I'll be calling you. I'll be
My
calling.
prices drop the more I like people. That's a problem I've got. So I'll make sure I do you right. All right?
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your
But
time
yes,
and your
my commissions
enthusiasm
are
through the
always
show.
open, and yeah. So anyone wants to hit me up anytime, I do it meritocratically down a list, and yeah, when your number's up, it's just like the deli, man.
I like that. I like that. Well, my brother, God bless you. And ladies and gentlemen, you just listened to Mr. Lewis, the sole proprietor of Shadow Rabbit _Clay _guy. Sir, thank you very much. God
Absolute
bless you and your
pleasure.
family. Keep you safe, and thank you again for doing my show. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Louis, and it was Cal, and the I. Sorry, that was Cal, and the eye of the beholder on beauty. Thank you again. Mr. Lewis, have a great night, sir.
Pleasure, brother.
My life, you and they to be my life, you and they to be